Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Moss Center's BalletX Dance Talk in support of their performance on Saturday, April 6th. I'm Annie Hoffman, and I am the Education and Outreach Manager here at the Moss Center. This opportunity is brought to you with support of the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, the Board of County Commissioners, and the Office of the Mayor. I would now like to introduce our moderator, Jordan Levin, who will introduce our distinguished panelists. Jordan?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another dance talk. I'm very happy to be here with two amazing women from BalletX. Their artistic and executive director, Christine Cox. Say hello, Christine.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And company member, Ashley Simpson.
Hello.
Hi, Ashley. Christine, I read that you were had a traditional ballet career. You were with the Pennsylvania Ballet for many years, and founded BalletX with Matthew Neenan, also a dancer at Pennsylvania Ballet. What inspired you? What inspired you both to start a company? And what's the X?
Well, it could be many things, the X. It could be we're X generation, which I don't even know what that is anymore. The X, we wanted to keep it simple, Ballet X, and the X was all the new, it was the future. Ballet is our home base. It's what we trained in. It was our part of our DNA, but the X was really the idea for the company. It was new work, it was exploring, it was pushing ballet forward. X marks the spot, something about the letter X in the center, it's solid and it connects everything. And then the lines, pushing outward from the center, we just both really said, we connected with the name. And the reason we started the company was selfishly in the beginning to just play, to have a summer full of adventure in dance and to just keep dancing. When we were at the ballet, we had a typical season of September to June, and then we had 3 months to do nothing. And we thought, why not put a show together? We both were choreographers at the time. And we just wanted to keep making work, and we made it on each other and our colleagues at the Pennsylvania Ballet. So it was just fun and adventurous, really, in the beginning. And it still is.
About how long did it take before it became more than let's put on a show in the summer? Pretty quickly, no? Because I see that you retired from dancing full time in 2006.
Yeah, great question. It's hard to know exactly when it started to shift. I did retire in 2006. I did not think that BalletX was going to be what it is today. I had 5 jobs when I retired dancing, and I was 36 years old, and I taught at University of the Arts and all different places. And BalletX, I wasn't really making any money. It was just still fun. And so my business and artistic hats started to really kind of merge. And I started realizing that we could no longer be an offset of the Pennsylvania Ballet. We really needed to start to form our own identity. And in forming our own identity and, just being ambitious and putting on more performances, the company started to grow and evolve. So I would say probably around year 5, we started building some momentum.
So around 2010.
Yes. And around that same time, I had my first son in 2008. I was almost gonna, give it all up and just really focus on being a mother. And my husband, my partner, said, this is your life. I can't imagine you not being a part of dance in some way. And he said, just keep going, keep pushing. And so I did. And I decided, though, that I couldn't wear as many hats as I was wearing. And I stopped choreographing and I stopped dancing. So those were really clear shifts for me personally.
So you're a contemporary ballet company. You commission a lot of new work. Not all of it is from classical ballet choreographers. So how do you, BalletX, how do you define contemporary ballet? Because still, I think ballet connotes for many people tutus and point shoes and a very specific style and certain kinds of pieces. Even as much as ballet has expanded, I think that's what ballet still means to a lot of people. So what's your brand of contemporary ballet?
You know, we start with the ballet where we're training, but we have really, a company of young contemporary people who, really bring their unique voices to the movement. So in not trying to get a company where everyone looks alike, we have a company of, these beautiful different artists who bring their really unique perspectives to the choreography. So that in itself brings a contemporary sensibility to the choices that we're making. And then you go into the choreographers, they all have their unique voices. And so you mix these artists together and they're painting art, these moving works of art. And really it's now, it's current, it's fresh, it's ideas and reactions from today, from the news they're reading or the experiences that they're having them right now. And they're bringing those experiences right into our studio and partnering with the dancers of BalletX to create these fresh perspectives. And it's all, we're crafting, each day, each week, we're all kind of, fine tuning the craft of building a company, the craft of becoming an extraordinary dancer, becoming an extraordinary maker. So I think if we keep that open mindset and it keeps a fresh approach to the work. And long ago when we, started the company, it was terrifying, right? It was like, oh, I was a dancer in the ballet. I thought I might lose my job. I needed my job. I needed to get paid. And I wanted my job, but I said to myself, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like just the act of doing is what's important here. So, because I didn't want fear to keep me from trying.
That's a wonderful sentiment. Ashley, I want to hear a little bit. I'm going to assume you're young, definitely younger than us. Do you mind telling us how old you are?
I am now 26 years old.
And are you by any chance from Philly or somewhere else?
I'm from Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, and
Oh,
then I moved to Philly for BalletX.
okay. Did you go to Dreyfus or another
I
art?
did.
Nice.
Wait, oh, because yeah, the Moss. Yeah, I went to Dreyfus School of the Arts. Loved it there. Great faculty, amazing dancers. Honestly, I credit Dreyfus to the reason why I wanted to dance because everyone around me was so into the arts and so inspiring and so talented. And everyone had that mindset of, oh, I'm like, what's next? What's next? We all want to dance still. So coming from there is what really sort of just want, yeah, sorry, encouraged me to sort of fly into the direction of dance and see what else is out there. Yeah, drive for school there.
Sorry. What made you want to audition for, how long have you been with the company? And what made you want to join BalletX? Made you want to audition for them? What was the picture you had in your mind of the company that made you want to dance with them?
So I've been with the company for 4 years. This is my fourth season. And I went to the 2017 BalletX Summer Intensive, and it was there. I had heard whispers around me. I went to Ailey Fordham for college. And so there I heard whispers of, oh, BalletX, BalletX. And I was like, what is this? What is that? And so I found out that they had a summer intensive. And I went and I fell absolutely in love. I was just so inspired by the company members and the rep they were doing, how diverse they were just creating these works that were not like anything I'd ever seen, especially when attached to a ballet name. And so I just thought I'd never seen anything like this. I definitely want to dance like this, and I want to dance for them. And I was just so inspired after that intensive. And since coming here, I think every day has been the same of that just inspiration all around. And everyone is so hungry and so passionate for the arts and for this art, for dance. And it's just really, it's been incredible from the summer intensive to me now being a full-time company member.
Wonder, that's incredible. So you don't, obviously you've had ballet training, but Ailey Fordham, you're not a full tilt ballerina. And that was never an issue, obviously. But I'm assuming it was never an issue that you didn't, that an issue for you looking at the company or thinking about whether it was the right place for you.
Oh, yeah, no, I think what I loved about Ailey Fordham was that we took classes in all styles. So I grew up going to a lot of ballet intensives. And so when I went to Ailey Fordham, I was able to sort of refine my modern and get that side of that technique just strengthened and, be able to be more of a mover along with a technician. And so when I saw Ballet X, I saw everything that I've been training in because here we do pieces that are combined with ballet and hip hop, or we'll do contemporary pieces on point, or just plain contemporary pieces, or sometimes, or we recently rehearsed in bare feet or in a jazz shoe, in a point shoe. So I think that being able to train in all the styles, just when I did eventually see Ballet X, and when I did have that moment of inspiration and that gasp and that holy grail moment, I think I just saw, oh, this is everything that I've been sort of working towards, is what it felt like.
Nice. Christine, I want to talk about the kinds of choices you make, especially when you commission a choreographer, which you do a lot. And it's one of the reasons the company is so well regarded is that you are constantly commissioning and presenting new work. And I'd like to use the program here at the Moss Center to talk about that. So maybe we could start with Become a Mountain by Justin Peck, who's a very famous figure in the dance world right now. Of course, he's the resident choreographer for New York City Ballet, and he choreographed the Steven Spielberg West Side Story. And as he mentioned earlier, the show that he co-created, Illinois, is going to Broadway. And for Miamians, he has a lot of Miami connections because he's choreographed several pieces for Miami City Ballet earlier in his career. And he's married to beloved homegirl, former Miami City Ballet dancer, Patricia Delgado. So what made you, why did you pick Justin's piece and why this piece? How did that happen?
I have loved Justin's work for many, many years. I think, the Pennsylvania Ballet was like a sister company to New York City Ballet. Barbara Weisberger founded it at the, encouragement of George Balanchine. So, for many years doing Balanchine's work, there was just this energy and dancing. So there was this connection, and seeing Justin's choreography on the company on New York City Ballet just surprised me. It blew my mind how he was taking ballet and really using the steps and reimagining how they would come together and break apart. And so I love that when I'm choosing a choreographer, that element of surprise. And I went in the winter of 2021, I believe, 2021, I went to see Kylie Kwan's work because she was a dancer with Ballet X, and she's now making choreography all over the country. And I was seeing her extraordinary work on Juilliard, and I also saw Justin Peck's piece for the senior class. And I actually fell in love with the work, Become a Mountain. I was on the edge of my seat with my hair standing up on my arms, and I was like crying and smiling at the same time. Crying, not because it was sad, it was just so human, and I felt so alive watching it. And it just felt extraordinary to be listening to this music by Dan Deacon and seeing what he was doing with the dancers, who you could feel this senior class just pulsing, optimism for their own futures. So I then in turn asked Justin if we could reimagine the work for a smaller cast, because we didn't have the 20 plus dancers. At the time we were only 10, and now we're 14. So he said yes, and it was our first time getting to work with Justin. So he restaged it. We brought actually Jeanette Delgado to Philadelphia to restage it. And we've performed it now in many different places, and just love the work. It feels so American and so possible, feels so positive, and yeah.
A lot of his work, Justin's work, seems to me to have to do with community in some way. Do you feel that he invokes that in this piece, or it's something else?
Well,
you don't want to say.
No, I would actually ask Ashley, because Ashley, what does it feel like to dance it? Sorry, I don't mean to be the interviewer, but she's going to give you this awesome perspective. It does remind me of community, but I think Ashley probably could tell you better, because she's feeling that community in the piece. What do you think? Sorry.
No, I was going to ask her about that.
I know, I'm sorry. I feel so.
Okay, Ashley.
What do you think, Ashley?
You're exactly right. Getting to perform that piece on stage to Dan Deacon's music live with the lights and everyone around you is the most incredible feeling. And I feel like the way Justin choreographed it was so that we could feel it as dancers as well, instead of just, oh, this is the task, you're supposed to portray this to the audience. We can really just look at each other in the eyes, and we're right there feeling all those emotions and going through it. And it just feels like we're so connected doing the choreography, because there's a little bit of repetition, and then there's a lot of unison choreography and moments where we have to be so in tune with one another. So it really does feel like a community, and we already have enough love for each other since we're colleagues and coworkers and we dance together all the time. But having a process like this and a piece where you get to tap into something that feels so raw and so human, like Christine said, it's just so special, and it really does feel like a strong community and family and everything, and yeah, all the good things.
Ashley, can I ask you to dig in a little bit more? Like, what about the work, the movement, the choreography, the things that Jeanette Delgado told you? Tell me what's distinctive, what's special about the piece for you. Anything?
I think, oddly enough, first things first, we're dancing in sneakers, and something about the physical nature of a sneaker when you're doing dance movements just takes you to a different place already. Just because you're like, this is something. Sorry, what was that?
What kind of a place do sneakers take you to?
It takes me to being outside or being in nature, walking in the city. I just normally am not wearing, since we're not doing like house hip hop dance exactly. We're doing house on point, but that's another story. But so wearing a sneaker just takes me to being outside, being in the city, just being a human in this world existing. And so pairing that with technique and dance and ballet already gets me in the mindset of, oh, this is a little something different. And to talk about Jeanette Delgado and Joseph Peck, their influences and what they were telling us, they would just have little motifs or little, the way they would describe certain steps would be like, oh, just send your torso back like you're being punched in the gut. And it's just something that's so visceral and so easy to accept, that when you're doing the movements, it just feels natural. And when it feels natural, I feel like we can get into a more authentic headspace and just feel that community, that family. And I don't know if I'm making sense, but the way they tasked us with these influences and ideas, it sort of just took a layer off and just let us all dance and not have to worry so much about the feet because we're in a sneaker, and the extension of the line because it has to be more free. Like we had a we had the biggest debate in rehearsal once because there was a step that was a double attitude back. But then when we met with Justin, he was like, "Oh no, I don't want a turned out classical attitude back. I just want you to swing around and get out of it." And so hearing him say that, I was like, "Oh, we're just dancing. We're just human." So yeah.
So they were both there. They both.
At different times. We saw Justin when we performed in Vail at Vail Dance Festival.
And tell us a little bit again, because Jeanette Delgado, Patricia's sister, and was one of my favorites at Miami City Ballet since she was a biddy. I just adored her. What was she like to work with as a ballet mistress, as a regisseur? I've never seen her in that kind of position.
I love her so much. I think that she is just the sweetest thing on this earth and a breath of fresh air. And as a person in the front of the room, I really respected her because she found a way to really control the room without it didn't seem like it was too much effort. She just, controlled the room so easily. And we all were just so curious about everything that she had to offer. And her way of expressing and how kind she is and how sweet she is, that just came out, and how much she loved the steps too came out in just her nature. So it was really a treat to work with her.
Happy to hear that. You have another Miamian who's become famous as a choreographer recently, Jamar Roberts, who of course grew up in South Dade, not far from the Moss Center, and graduated high school from New World School of the Arts, and was, shaped as a dancer down here before he went from New World to Ailey. Of course, he was an extraordinary dancer for many years, and was resident choreographer, and is now choreographing for BalletX and for a lot of companies. Christine, what drew you to Jamar's work, and what led you've commissioned 2 pieces from him, is that correct?
3.
3, okay. So tell me about that. What drew you to Jamar and the pieces, but especially Honey, which the company.
Mm. The visionary Damien Wetzel. He has really tapped BalletX for over a decade to be a part of his festival at the Vail Dance Festival. And he's, partnered us with different artists. And he said, "I want to put you with Jamar Roberts." And I was like, "Fabulous. This sounds terrific." And so we've worked together for many years. So we coordinate, and Jamar came to Philadelphia and made a really beautiful piece for the now premieres, and we just fell in love. It was just like, wow, we love working together. And then I asked him to come and make a work again the following season, and carte blanche, do whatever you want. And he came and wanted to make Honey, which was really, really close to him. And he wanted to tell some more personal stories about his own reflections on relationships. And he felt we were the company to do that with. And so he created one of the duets on Ashley. And so you'll get to see that firsthand at the Moss Center. And he's just an incredible choreographer, human person. He's just so kind and curious and clear and thoughtful, and really he is deeply invested in his work. And I love that about him, that he really thinks about it, he cares about it, he nurtures the work, and he wants to make something in collaboration with an organization. Even if it's his own ideas, you feel like you're working together.
Tell me a little bit, well, tell me first, when was that? When did you first meet with him at Vail? What year was that? Do you remember?
Ashley, do you remember? Was it 2021?
During COVID?
I want to say 2021.
Yeah, because it was 2021. And then we did another piece 2022. And then we did another piece 2023. We've commissioned since Vail, actually Vail commissioned Eros and Psyche, another piece that is in our series. We're not performing in Miami, but we just have an incredible opportunity in Vail to partner, and we've done 2 of our works with Vail and Jamar, and we've also, what you're going to see, Honey, we commissioned on our own, and love this work. It's so intimate. I love the stories that it's sharing. It's beautiful.
Can you tell us a little bit about those stories and what that intimate inspiration is, why it's a more personal piece?
I think it's really about different stages of relationships that he's had. And it might even be different relationships or relationships he's witnessed. So one is, a couple that's a little bit more challenging. They challenge each other, but they love each other. They may not get along so well. The next is the relationship that Ashley's, experiencing, where the female is very dominant over the male and really tells him what to do and orders him around. Or it's a dominant person in the relationship, and in the end, that person says enough is enough. I'm out of here. And then the third relationship is like a perfect union. There's symmetry all the time. They're moving together. They perfectly match. And the music's Don Shirley, and it's incredible.
Ashley, I'm going to tell a little story about Jamar. I profiled him a few years ago for the New York Times, actually, and spent a day running around with him here in South Dade as he was doing different workshops and rehearsals. And I saw him do a workshop at Coral Reef High School, which is an arts high school, and where he went before he went to New World. And he was choreographing for this class of high school students, and he'd do some dance and they'd learn it, and he'd do some more and he'd learn it. And I was watching him, and during a break I said, "You're making this up as you go, aren't you?" And he looked at me and said, "How'd you know?" But it was so astonishing how fluid he was, how fast this stuff came, and that he could remember it, on the spot, so that he could repeat it as they built up this phrase that he was teaching them as he made it up. So all of that's a preface. Ashley, what was it like to work with him? Did he choreograph this part of Honey on you and another dancer? What was working with Jamar like?
That it sounds like a lot like our process, what happened at Coral Reef. Yeah, he started out with phrase work. So we would all take our space on the floor, and he would come up with it on the spot, and like you said, remember it right after. And if someone did something a little bit different from what he did, he would know immediately. So he just was like, it would come from him, the moves, it would just come from him, and then he knew exactly what he wanted, and it was so beautiful to watch. And so he would take those phrases or small little just the phrase work basically, and would create it into partner work with me and my duet partner, or whoever he was working with at the time. And he would just, it would feel, you could tell that it felt very close to him, and it came from this honest place, because he would know when it didn't work. Also, he would say, "Oh, try this around your partner's head, or try this on the floor," and he'd be able to look at it objectively and say, "Oh, okay, maybe not that way, let's try a different way." So it was really exciting watching him workshop and play and create something that you could tell was so honest and so real. And it also still came from those initial phrases that we had learned the first 2 days of the process. So it was a really incredible like creation process, I think, with him, because he knew exactly what the finished product looked like, especially when we didn't. He would see it and see the vision, and we would all be like, "Oh, okay, I wonder where this is going." We would be lost, but he always knew. And so having someone like that at the front of the room is very special, because you're just along for the ride, really, and just trusting in the choreographer and trusting in the process.
Did he ever say the kinds of things that he'd tell you? Was it all purely physical, like back on your heels or cave in your spine, or were there
Yeah.
ever any other kinds of instructions or hints or ideas
Mhm. That's a good,
like this,
honestly,
like that?
yeah,
Any of that?
just like that. He would say a lot of his corrections were very physical, and for a lot of the time for me, when I first performed the duet for the first time, those first rehearsal processes, I didn't know what the story was because he didn't give us anything. He wanted to find it physically first and then to see if it would read without the emotional, like without me putting something on. Because I think if he knew that if he would tell us, oh, right here you kind of want to be mad at him, he knew that it would turn into something that he didn't want just yet. He wanted that to come through
Or
naturally.
start acting, or
Exactly. So he wanted the physicality to really be seen first and be the most important storyteller.
it's interesting. He's so interesting because he's so big, right? I think he's 6'4", 6'3". He's a big man, and wide shoulders and all of that, and yet he's so fluid and graceful, right?
Mhm.
It's this really unusual combination that makes him, I think, I mean, made him magical on stage, but I also think it makes him magical to be around, um, which is not a question, but um, so. And I know Umoja, Tyler Peck, a New York City. She's still a New York City ballet dancer, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know how these people do all this stuff.
She does a lot.
Yes.
It's amazing.
There's a lovely video on your website of her talking about the piece, and some rehearsal footage. And she she talks about a sense of joy and community, is my memory in that piece. And the title, the word Umoja. Remind me, please, what the word Umoja means.
Community, I think, in
I think
Swahili. Is
that's
that right?
Unity.
Yeah. What is it, Ashley?
Unity.
Unity. Unity. Yep.
um how, I mean, when you commit, was that a commission? And so you're not working from the piece, you're working from the person.
That was an interesting commission. That was an incredible opportunity and partnership with the Philadelphia Orchestra.
Oh,
The Philadelphia Orchestra first commissioned the music by Valerie Coleman. And I think I think I am correct, but she was the first African-American female that they had ever commissioned. She did this work right after COVID, I believe, and huge success. It's an extraordinary body of music, body of work, and they wanted to repeat it in a couple of years, and they approached us and said, could you choreograph to this work? And I said, well, we can find a choreographer to make something to this beautiful music. And so I asked Tyler Peck if she would be willing to choreograph to this work. And we would then premiere it at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center with the Philadelphia Orchestra in the summer of 2022. And then we performed it for their gala, their opening season with the Philadelphia Orchestra. It was like their 132nd, I could be wrong, opening night, along with Long Long, he performed.
oh my God.
It was incredible. So when the Philadelphia Orchestra tapped you on the shoulder, you make it happen. And then we, worked with them, and they got us the recording by Valerie. We worked with Valerie and performed it in our smaller season, not with the orchestra, but and we brought it into our repertoire, and we've performed it in Naples, Florida, a year ago, or this year with the Naples Philharmonic. And so we're thrilled to bring it to the Moss Center with recorded music, but it's extraordinary music.
Oh God, I would love
Absolutely.
it. It would be wonderful to see it with an orchestra. Did you get to perform with the Philadelphia Orchestra, Ashley, in that version? What is that like? Miami City Ballet once did a performance live with the Cleveland Orchestra. And for them to have, I mean, they played regularly with live orchestra, but when they had an orchestra of that size and quality playing for them, it just lifted the performance to a whole different level. What was that like?
It was incredible because the orchestra is amazing, first of all. And then to have just their energies, because they were all so excited too. We were just so incredibly excited to be there, but to turn around and see them also be excited to perform with dancers was really special. And they made it even bigger and even better because the music is already so incredible on just through the speaker, but hearing it live and seeing the instruments and the I don't know what this is called, but the way their arms are, it felt like a dance was happening behind us, and we were also responding. So it felt like just a beautiful moment. It was incredible.
Uh, I'm sure it'll still be beautiful. And Exalt by Jennifer Archibald. Yes. Now I know it's set to house music. What else can you tell me about this piece? Did I hear point shoes mentioned? All right.
Jennifer is incredible. She and I met many years ago, and right before the pandemic, she came down from Brooklyn, where she lives, and we just met, which is typically I'll hop on a phone call or a Zoom. Well, we weren't even doing Zoom before the pandemic. And so you'd barely know a choreographer, and you'd bring them in and you'd say, here's my family, make a piece. And with Jennifer, I wanted to shift how I was getting to know choreographers, and I wanted to know them better. And so she drove down, we spent a couple hours talking, and we just bonded, and we started to build this trust. And I love her background. She studied at National Ballet of Canada, but she also was a house dancer. So she'd go clubbing, and I was a ballet dancer, but I also would go clubbing. And that sounds like you're just going out to club, but I and she would go out because we had this deep desire to keep moving. Like we had to dance. And when you're studying, ballet, and you're in first position and you're trying to do susu and complete a triple pirouette and have your leg out without your hip up, and make sure your finger, the mindset ballet is really complicated, and you get into a space where you can just be free and move and make your own choices and let the movement and the rhythm. So we had this real similar approach to these two really different dance styles. And I said, well, come on over, like bring your ideas to us. And we got even closer during the pandemic. And then we decided to make Exalt. We had gone for this really big grant that we didn't get, and we were pretty bummed, but I said, we're just going to keep going. We're going to bring this vision to life, and let's start the process. And she made Exalt, and we did it at a huge outdoor venue called the Mann Center for the Performing Arts. And then what was so interesting was to bring it from this massive venue into this smaller house, where it warmed it up and it brought you closer to the dancer, and you could really like almost see their sweat, pouring off of them. And it just was so different. It was amazing in the huge venue, and it was even better in the smaller venue. And it just keeps getting more and more in the dancer's body, and they're just owning it, and they're just owning every step that they take, because it's hard ballet, and it particularly is hard for the women because they're in point shoes. So it's hard to be earthy and grounded in a point shoe and be like a powerhouse, even though they are. It's just challenging. I mean, it's hard. Stamina wise and technique wise, but it's a great piece. People love it. They just like jump to their feet, and they like love the dancers because they're so free in it, and they're just themselves. They feel like, these powerhouses that they are, and they're allowed to be powerhouses, and that's liberating.
Wow. Ashley, so are you on point? Tell us a little bit about how that works. I mean, do you go from like perfect turnout, arabesque or pirouette, and then get down in your knees, or how does it work? What's the movement like?
Sorry for the noise. But yeah, there was definitely a learning curve at first. Because I love Jennifer's style. I had known Jennifer from she used to take or do classes at Dreyfus actually. So I had known her style from before, but having to put it on point was really tricky because I wanted so bad to, because the guys were next to us like getting groovy and getting into the floor and they were so grounded and living in that space. But for us, we have to still be held up and have that same type of groove and same type of rhythm. So it was a learning curve at first, but it's fun to get to play in that space and in that technique, but then still also have fun on top, and you're still at the party with the guys, and it's just a really great piece and a really great time, and it's super fun to perform. I'm really excited to do that again for the Moss.
Do you do point work? I mean, do you do sort of the
Oh yeah, yes.
traditional
Yeah,
ballet?
we do point work as well as I would say for the girls their track is more towards the point side than the house side, but there are moments of intermixing the two.
And are you a club goer?
What was that?
Are you a club goer?
Oh, not so much. Not so much for me.
But Jennifer put like fouettes in it, you know, she double attitudes, bourrées, and then like Ashley has to do this pitch and like pop to susu, pop to susu, and some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an all uplifting program, right? It doesn't sound like there's anything dark on this slate of dances.
Honey, it's not dark, but it's contemplative. It's thoughtful. It's honest. You know, all relationships are not just, you know, peaches and cream. They're complicated, and he's captured some of those complications really well. And it goes to peaches and cream, but it's not. I mean, even in the most symmetrical, perfect union, it almost feels like one of the partners passes away. You could interpret it that he dies, because he lays on his stomach as they're walking into the sunlight, and then she's by herself, really doing the partnering, the mirrored partnering alone. And then she steps and goes on her knees, and then they raise, you know, you only see their back, and they raise their hands up, and it's like almost like a prayer. So you could interpret it like they've had their perfect union, but you do end your life alone. But if you believe in an afterlife, you end it together. It's people it touches them, and it's really, yeah, thoughtful.
Did you ever think it, Christine, it sounds like you've had an extraordinary journey from let's put on a summer show to working with some of the most important contemporary choreographers in the dance world. Um, do you, with everything, all the zillion and one things that you're doing, do you ever think about that? Like, how did I get here? And how did, you know, how did I go from rehearsing Nutcracker to making all these artistic decisions and shaping this artistic entity that's really making an impact on the dance world?
Thank you. I do. You know, I mean, we could be contemporaries in terms of our age. You know, I wake up and I go, gosh, how did I get here? You know, and I have a certain amount of life left, and I certainly, you know, at 26, Ashley's age, was not thinking about running a ballet company. I was not thinking about any of it. I just wanted to dance and, you know, find as much joy as I could in my complicated, you know, ballet world. And And so, yes, I sometimes don't know how I got here, but I can remember the days being in my apartment, having 5 jobs, and, taking glue stick and being the only person sticking a postcard, on a folder that I was going to try to hand to a presenter to tell them about this new little company. I've been selling, trying to get people on the boat. Come on, come on our boat, come sail with us. And I still do that. And there was a time, and you can get really tired, where I was like, whew, I'm not selling. What's wrong with me? I need to keep, because if you're, I have to keep the spark, and I still have it very much so. I mean, and I think just anything in life, you're going to have ebb and flow, and coming out of, I mean, I don't even want to say the word, but 2020 was challenging, and we didn't stop working, but we've gone through a lot of change, because I felt a deep connection to the community that I was serving, the dancers, and that can be misinterpreted. But I didn't want anybody to starve. I wanted people to eat and feel like they had a place they could keep working. So we didn't stop working. We kept dancing, and that is challenging, when a lot of people, stepped back and evaluated and took some space. We were like, let's go into 6th gear. Let's make 27 films. So we really did a lot, and we learned a lot. But yeah, so I am still marveling at where we are and how much I'm learning and growing still. And I'm grateful, because that means I'm alive.
It sounds like you have a lot of support in Philadelphia. Do you feel like that's true? I also see you do an education program. I think this is recent, you do pop-up performances around Philadelphia. Um, you do summer intensives, that you described, that collaboration with the Philadelphia Orchestra. Um, do you feel like you have a lot of support in your community, and has that been important?
It's been tremendous. I mean, Ashley experiences it all the time when she's out there dancing. The audience loves the dancers of BalletX. Philadelphia loves BalletX, but not only Philadelphia. I think, we're building a national company that is being recognized, and we're so grateful. This is our first time coming to Miami, so we're just, every community we come into, we're seeing what we have, right? How is your community going to react to BalletX? And so far, it's been so positive. Wherever we go, the audiences just love the dancers. They love the work, and they, I think, can feel and appreciate the love that goes into everything that we're doing, right? We all really care about our work, and we just want to build audiences. We want to touch people's lives, and we want to make a difference in their day. Whether it's in Jamar's piece, Justin's piece, Jennifer's piece, or Tyler's piece, or Matt's piece, or, we're bringing work that we hope to touch a community and people, and bring them some joy and some reflection. Because the arts really change people's lives. I really, really, truly believe that. And yeah, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. So Philadelphia is extraordinary. And I say to the Philadelphians, like, I don't think we could have done this anywhere else, because we're a gritty, passionate, crazy town. I'm from Philadelphia, so I can talk the talk, and I definitely walk the walk. And but this city loves the arts, and will show up. It takes a lot of effort to build your trust, but once you build it, the loyalty is profound.
That's nice. That's nice. And it sounds like you don't worry, is this going to be too avant-garde or too modern or too cutting edge when you're picking choreographers or picking pieces. Am I right about that? You have faith
You
your
know,
audience will follow you.
true. Our audience is like a museum audience, right? It's like it's they're not judging you because I think they appreciate the fact that this is new. So they're appreciating that maybe they don't love everything on the program, but they're going to fall in love with something. And I think they love the spirit of the company. They love that it is current and supporting artists and pushing the art form forward. We're not trying to be something from the past. We're really trying to be something in current and moving into the future. So I think that happens. And I describe the audiences like their bodies are open and they're just like, yeah, let's go. Hey, I like that piece. They talk about the work. Oh, what did you think happened there? You hear the buzz, and it's not just Philadelphia. I mean, the company was just in Saratoga, and literally, like, I think they did sautés up into the air when the dancers finished. They literally jumped off their feet and they were giving them a raging standing ovation, in it's just crazy. And it's a testament to the dancers. And I think the key is that the dancers are making these works. So you're getting work that's not generations away from their that word DNA keeps coming up the dancers are part of the DNA, the vibration of the work. They're helping to make these works. They're a part of the inspiration. So it makes it like, a show on, jolted on caffeine, double lattes with extra half and half, which is how I like mine right now. I'm like, forget the cream. Give me the half and half, extra fat for me. It's so creamy.
And Ashley, you all have different dance backgrounds, am I right? The company members. Tell me how much you work together, help each other out. If somebody is better at one style than another, say, do you work with each other a lot? Do you turn to each other a lot?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot of that throughout the rehearsal day, just because, like you said, we're all from such different dance backgrounds that like there's someone in the room who can do whatever the person in the front of the room is asking. And we tend to know who that person is. So during our fives or whenever we have a moment, we'll turn to that person and say, okay, can we go over that? And so it's really helpful to have different backgrounds because we're able to sort of lean on each other. And we know that if something isn't going so well, my colleagues are so incredible because I think there's someone, or honestly, everyone here is so in love with this craft, and they also are so good at teaching as well. So every time I have a question and I go to someone random, it's great because it turns into a dialogue and we're able to break the step down or discuss why it feels weird. And I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but it just feels so like it's a very healthy environment to be in creation all the time because we're just always trying to break it down, put it back together, make it feel better in our bodies, help out the person next to us. So yeah, good question.
So we're almost out of time. Just one little, so you've been to Saratoga, you've been to Naples. Ashley, you're from West Palm Beach. So, but your first time in Miami?
First time performing in Miami.
Oh, okay. All right. So I don't know, any plans, wishes, or you're going to be in and out with the show? Any like plans, wishes, like fun, or you won't have time for that?
My family's coming, so that'll be really fun. Yeah.
You won't be there, Christine, correct?
Oh, I will. I'm coming. We get in on Friday, so we'll probably take Friday to kind of bop around Miami. And then Saturday we'll go into Tech and we have our shows Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, we grab as much time in a community as we can, particularly if you're in Miami or 20 minutes outside of Miami. So who knows, maybe I'll bop over to Miami City Ballet and see if I can say hello to some friends there. And yeah, we're really, really so excited to be coming your way. It really is a dream come true. And I'm really so grateful to the Moss Center for bringing us in. It really is amazing.
Right. Well, we are super happy to have you. This program sounds incredible. Okay. So, thank you. Thank you for being here and exposing yourselves and taking so much time to talk about this incredible company.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate all your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so very much to our moderator, Jordan Levin, and to our amazing panelists for participating in this incredible dance talk that I know I'm really, really excited about the performance, and I'm sure everyone else is as well. I do want to let you all know who are watching at home, tickets for BalletX performance at the Moss Center on Saturday, April 6th are available now. You can get your tickets at mosscenter.org, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Ladies.
Bye.
Thank you.